You are given immortality with the side effect of being sent back in time 2,000 years. Would you accept this offer, and if so, what would you do? Going to Rome, baby. Oh yeah. 2,000 years ago. This is easy. Move to Lucy-Limburhoek. Lay low. Gather a group of strong men around me and train them for 4 centuries. Establish trading connections around the Low Countries and Saxony. Around 500 CE, declare the independent state of Luxembourg. Fortify the most strategically important site in Europe. Conquer Antwerp and Rotterdam. Act as the Western gateway for that sweet Hanseatic trade money. Ingratiate myself with the ruling European families. Profit. Centuries later? Probably start writing a fictional vampire series about my experiences. Edit. Thank you everyone for the awards, I can't believe this blew up. The answer is kind of based on a headcanon story that I've had for a long time. I don't play Crusader Kings, but now I'm definitely going to check it out. You all made my morning. This guy Crusader Kings. Yes, he definitely does CK. I never thought of CK as the ideal training experience for when I achieve both immortality and time travel. A lot of people have mentioned potential downsides, but another one, even if you have invulnerability, is the possibility of being imprisoned. Maybe they can't kill or even hurt you, but they could lock you as a prison or trap you in a cave or something for eternity. Imagine being trapped in a dark cave for thousands of years with no way to die no matter how badly you wanted to. That's straight up torture. Imagine then 2,000 years later they find you while digging to build a new building. At that point you have gone insane and are a shell of your former self. There's a movie show pilot on Netflix about this. In the Middle Ages the people thought they were witches, one escaped but the other was locked in a box and thrown in the ocean. Do you know the name of it? Sounds like the Old Guard. They're not invulnerable but they'll regenerate any wounds. They can still die but they'll come back to life. How fast depends on the extent of the injuries. 2 of them back in like the 1600s were captured and tried as witches. One escaped, the other was locked in an iron box and thrown in the ocean where she drowns, comes back to life, and drowns again, for hundreds of years. Edit. What makes it even worse, the immortals dream about the other immortals, literally connected via their dreams, until they meet. Some of the immortals were born after she was thrown in the ocean, meaning they periodically dream her pain of coming back to life and drowning again and again. There certainly are worse fates than death for those that are immortal. That's the whole point of being immortal. The only downside is that you can't die. Remember? Cars is still floating in space. Edit. Holy crap, this blew up. And thanks for the awards. That reminds me of this obscure movie I watched where people are in the future and they're traveling to another planet or something in what looks like the spaceship equivalent to a cruise ship, but somehow they get the calculations wrong. Guess they go in the wrong direction or something and they can't turn back. Captain tries to hide it at first until people stop buying the excuses, and then although they have everything they could possibly need to survive on the vessel itself, they have no future basically, so you start to see everyone slowly start to descend into madness. Wasn't the best movie in the world overall, but was certainly thought-provoking. Avenue 5. Though it was a series, not a movie. Nah, Wally edit, it's a joke, y'all. Only if I was both invulnerable to injury and had the ability to kill myself if I chose. There's a lot of details we'll have to clear up tbh. Have your people call my people. I had to dig up my response last time this was asked. We have to talk about the repercussions. The sun will burn out. You will be left on a frozen planet, or vaporized I guess, dunno how that'll go. I would assume live forever means you're stuck there, cold and dark forever. So the biggest assholes. It's a punishment. FYI. Turns out you'll get vaporized when the sun swallow Earth's orbit. If you're immortal, that's gonna hurt for a long time. That's future me's problem. Every time my friends remind me that submission date is nearing. If I'm being offered this, my 2K+-year-old self should be around to tell me it's a go or not. I will wait on myself to tell me to do it or not. Plot twist, your 2K+-year-old self is the one offering you immortality. Ooh. But he's trying to convince you to do it because it's awful and it's transferable. What is this? Writing prompts? Actually, someone post this in there. Done edit. Aw, thanks everyone, glad I could be of service 3. I love how you made an entire account for it. Since it wasn't my idea, I didn't think it fit to get credit for it on my main account. That's very noble at you in a silly way. Could have just linked the source or given credit. But if you're gonna make a whole account for it now, you have to commit to the bit. I best see you using various Reddit comment threads to piece together amazing writing prompts, otherwise you've wasted a good novelty account name. Ada. With great power comes great responsibility. Remember that you make writing prompt. Remember that. I do not want to menstruate for 2000 years. Not enough information, so I will describe the conditions on which it accept. It do it if I was immortal, would not age, and could not be injured permanently. You should add, cannot be trapped and or some sort of supernatural power. Otherwise, people will solve you by burying you alive, drowning you, or otherwise restraining you. Just travel, dude. Change names as you go. Sure, it might be suspicious if you live in one place for 2K, but if you are constantly moving, none of these ancient people are going to see your photo and bury you alive as a witch, haha. Move to a place that accepts witchcraft even. Lots of people in ancient times believed in that sort of shit, and likely you would been worshipped for it. Hell, go to Tenochtitlan at the time, tell the Mexica people you are Huitzilopochtli and prove your immortality. Become God King and live on the throne until the conquistadors come. Then you can change the course of history, or tuck tail and move on to live a new life. You would have had rough 1,300 years of experience by this point anyways. Eventually your people will fall on bad times, plague, drought, war with powerful neighbor, rebellion, etc., and blame you. Then they will chain you up and drop you to the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, I was worried about how torture might fit into this scenario too. You'd basically get to witness all of recorded history firsthand, although by the time it came around to present day, your would have been lifetime would fly by in comparison to your new lifetime. Then you gotta deal with eternity by yourself, which doesn't sound pleasant. I'd need to know the details of my immortality. Can I get hurt? Do I heal? Do spawn and come back to life somewhere if hurt? Do I have to eat? Or is eating and drinking an option, but I can skip it without any issue? And what happens when I get tired of living? Can I call it off myself? Then I'd need to have some kind of knowledge of languages. But if those issues were satisfied, yeah, I'd go back. Right. Last thing you want is for someone to encase you in a lead tomb and toss you into the ocean once they find out you can't be burned at the stake for being a witch. Jesus. That would just take all the fun out of immorality. The 2020 of immortality experiences. Can I choose where? That's the difference between me being revered as a sorcerer and burned at the stake for being a witch doctor. Every 10 to 20 years you just move away. No one will have any way to identify you. I think the fact that I'd be immortal wouldn't be a problem. The fact that my immune system and every highly developed virus and bacteria in me would kill most parts of the world's population within months after my arrival is a lot more concerning. What would eternity be without company? And you wouldn't be able to speak any languages for at least the first year. Had Latin in school, this would really come in handy. The Latin we know as Latin is classical Latin, used only in writings in high society, which is different, not extremely so, but noticeably, from the vulgar Latin that people actually spoke. Imagine if your only sources of English were Shakespeare and Chaucer, you could probably barely manage, but it would be rough. If you threw me in China, and none of the local English speakers were allowed to talk to me, I'd be able to say hello and every single other thing would be complete pantomime. Only knowing Shakespeare equivalent speech is still a hell of a head start. Travel to Antarctica because it will be there. Edit, I never expected this to get 2 awards, thank you all so much. Build a settlement, with functioning heat, running water, indoor plumbing, and invite a few hundred select people. After the kids come of age, kick half of everyone out, invite a few new people in. Gotta keep the gene pool fresh. Name it Skritlandis. Make sure you have a ton of acorns. I will literally freeze myself just so someone can find me, and I'll bust out of the ice all cool like, and it'll be cool. Yeah, go to Antarctica, freeze yourself and wait for global warming to melt the ice caps and wake you up around current times. Do you think you would remain conscious when frozen? My headcanon for default immorality is something like Deadpool on steroids, and since nothing about details on immorality were mentioned in this post, that's what I'm gonna go with. So to answer your question, with the version I'm going with, if your body wouldn't be able to biologically function due to some reasons, you enter a vegetative state until conditions change for you to be able to function again. So if you freeze, you go unconscious until you unfreeze.